folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen. This week we're counting down the top 10 Universal monster movies. Yes, absolutely love the Universal monsters. It's one of the things that got me into horror. And I feel like if you're a true horror fan, you've got to appreciate those Universal classic films, you know? The films that brought us to the dance. I mean, where would horror be today without them? God only knows, but thank God they happened. So I'm going to start off like I usually like to do with a couple honorable mentions. The first one being The Black Cat, starring Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff together, just absolutely chewing the scenery, squaring off against each other. Great film. It's about this satanic cult led by none other than Boris Karloff, based on this story by Edgar Allan Poe, of course. Next up, we have The House of Dracula, which I have as part of this Universal Legacy collection here. It's just a great monster mashup featuring all the classic Universal monsters together in one film. And Bela Lugosi, unfortunately, didn't return as Dracula. We've got John Carradine here taking on the mantle. And he used to be one of my least favorite to portray the character, but after seeing this movie several times, I've really come to appreciate it. And I've come to love his portrayal as Dracula. I actually really like it. And of course, features Lon Chaney Jr. returning as the Wolfman, who is just great as always. And yeah, you've got Glenn Strange as the monster in the film. Just an absolute blast. The only thing that's a little bit disappointing is I feel like Dracula's story is kind of over before he gets a chance to, you know, run into all the other monsters. So you never really see them all together on the screen at the same time, really. But it's still a great film. And next up, we have House of Frankenstein, which again I have as part of this Universal Legacy collection. I do think this is the better of the two films with the better story, and this one actually has Boris Karloff. He's not playing the monster again, but he is playing like the classic, you know, mad scientist role here. And he's just great. And I like the story in this one better than House of Dracula. Yeah, it makes a better use of the monsters, I think, and I love what they do with Lon Chaney Jr.'s character, especially as the Wolfman. And in that number 10 is going to be The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, I'll be honest, I never saw this movie until recently, probably last year sometime, so yeah, it was a first for me, and I absolutely love it. I think it's a great film, and it's a great addition to the legacy of the Universal monsters. And I mean, what a design to the creature himself. It's one of the best designs I've seen for a monster ever. You know, it's so cool, and it's a great film. Next up we have, I know people might shoot me for this one, so don't kill me, folks. I do love this film. I love every film on this list. So, yes, it's going to be Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah, which I have as part of this collection here. Yeah. So, you know, many people would say Bride of Frankenstein is one of the greatest sequels of all time. And it's hard to argue that, but I do have a few issues with the film. I do love it, and I will say I love everything with the monster. Anything that has to do with the monster. I love Boris Karloff's portrayal. I love the look of the monster in The Bride of Frankenstein. He looks amazing. I love the makeup job, and And I love the progression of the character as well. He learns to speak, he gets smarter as the film goes on, and I love it. It's great. I love his scenes with the old man, the old blind man, when he first starts learning how to speak, and he's like, I love that. But I don't like the comedy in the film. It feels very campy and silly at times, especially the stuff with Ula O'Connor, and she's just so over the top. And the Dr. Pretorius character I don't really care for. I feel like he's very campy and over the top as well. A lot of people love him, but I don't. There's just a little bit too much cheese for me in the film, but I do still love it, and I love the final act where the bride finally shows up, and man, talk about an iconic character when she only has like 5 minutes of screen time, but man, just the stuff of legend. I love her look and the portrayal. It's great, It's a great film, but again, it's not one of my absolute favorites. So, Bride of Frankenstein in at number 9 here. And in at number 8 is going to be The Mummy, featuring Boris Karloff as the legendary character. The only thing that I kind of find a little bit disappointing about this one is we don't get to see him kind of as the monster really for too long. It's really only a couple scenes at the beginning. And once he's brought back to life, he takes the bandages off and he's just kind of his normal human form, But he's still incredibly menacing. Boris Karloff gives an amazing performance, and he's very, very charismatic, very intimidating, He does an excellent job. And it's great to see him speaking in a speaking role, whereas, we saw him as the monster in the Frankenstein films, and he barely spoke, But it's great to see him here, just chewing the scenery, and it's great. It does move a little slow for my taste. It's definitely a very slow burn, but it's still a great film. And next up, we have The Invisible Man with Claude Rains in the title role. It's just an awesome film. Just an absolute classic, and Claude Rains' performance is just brilliant. I love the effects in the film too. I love they make great use of what little they had back in those days for special effects. They do a great job, and it's got a lot of humor in this film as well. And once again, we do have Ula O'Connor chewing up the scenery with the camp value, but somehow for this film, I think it works better because it does have a lot more comedy in this film. But yeah, Claude Rains in the title role is what makes it for me. He's just brilliant, and man, he's very sinister. And man, he kills a lot of people, especially the people on that train. Like, oh my god. He does some serious damage. But what would you do if you had the power of invisibility? I mean, you could do a lot of bad things. And next up, we have Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, which I absolutely love this film. I think it's more of a Wolfman movie than it is a film about the Frankenstein's monster. But man, I think Lon Chaney Jr. absolutely kills it in this film. And yeah, just the tragic nature of the character of the Wolfman is definitely on full display here in this film. I absolutely love it. And I love the story, too. It's just a great film. I wouldn't say Bela Lugosi, his portrayal as the monster is one of the best, but I know Bela Lugosi isn't really much shorter than Boris Karloff, but he just seems smaller than Boris Karloff's version of the monster for some reason. I don't know if it's the camera work, or maybe he didn't wear the boots high enough, or something. He just didn't feel as intimidating as Boris Karloff. But still, he does a great job, and they're kind of together for a while, but at the end they really duke it out, and it's just classic. I love it. They have that great monster battle. I mean, long before there was Freddy vs. Jason or Alien vs. Predator, we had Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. And here we have, to me, the greatest monster mashup of all time and my favorite horror comedy of all time, and that is Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. Yes. And here we do have Bela Lugosi returning as Dracula, and it's amazing, and he's fantastic in this movie. And Abbott and Costello are just at their absolute peak here. And I'm a big fan of Abbott and Costello. They're my favorite comedy duo of all time, probably. And they kill it here, and this film just gives great respect to the monsters as well. They're taken seriously here. They're not comedy characters here. It's Abbott and Costello that bring the comedy, really. But the monsters are taken very seriously. They're given a lot of respect, and this is kind of their final bow, you know. But yeah, it's an awesome film. It's hilarious. And yeah, it's great. It's still got that classic gothic horror flavor to it as well from Universal. And next up, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. And in that number 4 is going to be the classic Dracula from 1931, starring Bela Lugosi in a title role of Dracula, Count Dracula. And, I mean, what more can I say that hasn't already been said about his performance? It's just iconic, and I do think it is the quintessential portrayal of the character, you know? Every iteration afterwards owes everything to his portrayal. Like, he just set the standard of what the character is and how he's supposed to be portrayed. His mannerisms, his deep voice, that accent, you know, that Hungarian accent really does. And it's amazing. And this film has amazing gothic tone and atmosphere, and I love it. The only thing I don't like about the film is the ending is very short and sudden, and it just ends with a whimper, really, you know. Like, you think there's going to be this great battle between Van Helsing and Dracula, and it's just, like, over really quick, and it's very unsatisfying, unfortunately. I feel like the film would have been higher on the list if it wasn't for that, but, you know, the film is worth watching. Definitely the biggest part is Bela Lugosi's portrayal as Dracula, you know. I love the scenes where he's walking through the streets of London, too, with the top hat. I just feel like that's so classic, you know. Him walking through the foggy streets at night, you know, preying on his victims. I love that. I wish we had a little bit more of that, but that's just so cool. Alright. In at number 3 might be a big shock to all you people, but I love this film, and it is Dracula's Daughter. Yes, Dracula's Daughter, which is the sequel to the original Dracula, featuring Gloria Holden in the title role, and I just think she's amazing in the film. And she's a very tragic character, you know, because she wants to be released from this curse that is vampirism, and that's one of the things I love about it. And I love her portrayal. She's very charismatic in the role, and she's just perfect, you know. She just embodies what you would think to be Dracula's daughter, you know. And also features probably the first scene of lesbian vampirism, or it's alluded to in the film. We don't really see anything, but, you know. But yeah, I love this film. Dracula's Daughter is probably the most underrated film in the Universal Monster catalog, in my opinion. Next up is The Wolfman in at number 2. Yes, way up there. Absolutely love The Wolfman. Every single Halloween I put this film on. That's one of the things I just love to do, is watch some of the old classics from Universal Monsters. And always started off with The Wolfman because it's such an amazing film. As I said earlier, it's the tragedy of the character of Lawrence Talbot. that I think is just brilliant, and I love the portrayal by Lon Chaney Jr. I just think he just does amazing in this role, you know. Yeah, and Claude Rains is also in the film as Lawrence Talbot's father, and yeah, the thing about it is Lawrence Talbot is such a likable guy, you know. You just feel like you get to know him, you spend some time with him, and he's such a good guy. You know, you want him to be relieved of this curse of lycanthropy, you know. And unfortunately, you know, it's has kind of tragic consequences, you know. But it's just an amazing film with incredible gothic atmosphere, and you see him walking through the woods in the mist and the fog, and it's amazing, you know. Just a classic film, great acting, great cast, and it's just an amazing classic. And in that number one, of course, is going to be Frankenstein. Absolutely love the classic from 1931, starring Boris Karloff as the monster, the Frankenstein's monster, and of course Colin Clive as Dr. Frankenstein does an amazing job as well. You know, "It's alive!" It's such a classic scene, you know, in the laboratory. It's so amazing when you see him raising up the monster up to the top of the roof so he can get electrocuted by the lightning, and then they harness the electricity to raise this monster made up from dead human parts, body parts, all stitched together to make this monster, which is his creation. And it's just amazing. It's one of the greatest horror films of all time, in my opinion, and I think it's the ultimate Universal monster film. Yeah, a lot of people prefer Bride of Frankenstein, but no, I love the original Frankenstein. It's just a masterpiece, in my opinion. Brilliant film, and it doesn't have a whole lot of goofy comedy. There is a little bit, but yeah, it's much more of a serious horror film, and I love it. Alright guys, that's it for the top 10 Universal monster movies. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared. Good evening, folks, and we got some brand new merchandise for you over at www.thehorrorcona.com, and that's CONA.com. Representing the Horror Corner. Great new design. We got the Morbid Hour live stream there, you got the Horror Hangout live stream there, and you got my nemesis, the Dark Fate. So grab your t-shirt over at www.thehorrorcona.com. And we also got this beautiful new mug. Look at that. Very, very cool. Thought that came out really nice. So grab your merchandise today over at www.thehorrorcona.com.